Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime this time around with episodes of Boston Blackie starring Dick Kollmar. We'll have Frank Graham and Frank Nelson as Jeff Regan Investigator and The Lion's Eye. Dangerous Assignment starring Brian Donlevy. Joe DeSantis starring in Under Arrest. And another episode of Superman. That's all coming up on this Tuesday, 6th day of August, 219th day of the year, 147 days left till we get to 2025. 60 proof sheets of the Constitution delivered to the Constitutional Convention on this date in 1787. 1901, Kiowa land in Oklahoma opened for white settlement, effectively dissolving the contiguous reservation. The Bull Moose Party met at the Chicago Coliseum in 1912, and in New York in 1926, the Warner Brothers Vitaphone system premiered, the sound system, the movie Don Juan, starring John Barrymore. 1926, Harry Houdini performed his greatest feat, spending 91 minutes underwater in a sealed tank before escaping. In 1941, a curfew imposed on gas stations in the U.S. in preparation for the war. It was on this date in 1945, Hiroshima devastated when an atomic bomb, Little Boy, dropped by the U.S. B-29, the Enola Gay.
The world will note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, a military base. We won the race of discovery against the Germans. We have used it in order to shorten the agony of war, in order to save the lives of thousands and thousands of young Americans. We shall continue to use it until we completely destroy Japan's power to make war.
Around 90,000 people killed instantly when the bomb was dropped. After going bankrupt in 1955, the American broadcaster Dumont Television Network had its final broadcast on this date in 1956, a boxing match from St. Nicholas Arena. In 1960, in response to a U.S. embargo, Cuba nationalized American and foreign-owned property in the nation. The Voting Rights Act of 1975 signed into law on this date by President Johnson.
So let me now say to every Negro in this country, you must register. You must vote. You must learn. So your choices advance your interests and the interests of our beloved nation.
President Johnson on this date in 1965. Prince released Purple Rain on this date in 1984, the album which would launch him to superstardom. In 1986, President Reagan spoke against critics of the Strategic Defense Initiative, Star Wars.
Our response to demands that we cut off or delay research and testing and close shop is no way. SDI is no bargaining chip. It is the path to a safer and more secure future, and the research is not and never has been negotiable.
Interest in the program waned after President Reagan left office. The UN Security Council on this date in 1990 ordered a global trade embargo against Iraq in response to Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. In 2001, the White House briefing entitled Bin Laden Determined to Strike in U.S. delivered to George W. Bush, the document foreshadowed the September 11 attacks. And in 2003, Arnold Schwarzenegger announced he would run for governor.
The man that is failing the people more than anyone is Gray Davis. He's failing them terribly. And this is why he needs to be recalled. And this is why I'm going to run for governor of the state of California.
Schwarzenegger announced his candidacy in the 2003 California recall election for the governor of California on this date in 2003 on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. 135 candidates qualified for the ballot, Schwarzenegger among them. Also Gary Coleman and porn star Mary Carey. In 2011, a U.S. military helicopter shot down, killing 30 American Special Forces members and a working dog. 7 Afghan soldiers and 1 Afghan civilian, the deadliest single event for the U.S. in the war in Afghanistan. And in 2012, NASA's Curiosity rover landed on the surface of Mars. Passing away on this date in history, trumpet player Bix Beiderbecke, actor Sir Cedric Hardwicke, Pope Paul VI, also TV producer Quinn Martin, reporter Harry Reisner, harmonica player Larry Adler, Rick James, B-word, also Marvin Hamlich, and New Orleans clarinet player Pete Fountain, all passing away on this date in history. Birthdays on this date include actor Leo Carrillo, a member of the television staff of the Cisco Kid, also gossip columnist Luella Parsons, rodeo champ and actor Hoot Gibson, actress Lucille Ball, Robert Mitchum, another fine actor, artist Andy Warhol, and pro wrestler Dino Bravo, all born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Birthdays on this date include Dr. Jerry Robinson on The Bob Newhart Show. Peter Bunners is 86. Annie on Seventh Heaven. Catherine Hicks is 73. From Tomorrow Never Dies, Michelle Yeoh is 62. Director M. Night Shyamalan is 54. I know I mispronounced it. Ginger Sprice, Jerry Hollowell is 52. Punky Brewster, Soleil Moonfry is 48. And from America's Next Top Model, Adrienne Curry is 42. Those are a few of the people celebrating the 6th day of August as their birthday. And if this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
Get things started here with one of our regular shows, Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie. This episode will go back 78 years to August 6, 1946, and it's a fixed court case.
There's an issue cutting through the partisanship in Congress. It's AM radio. The overwhelming majority of legislators, Democrats and Republicans, support a bill to keep AM radio in cars. But time is running out. Text AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now. AM radio is too important to let this moment pass us by.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, let's go back 78 years to August 6, 1946. Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie.
Order. Order in the court. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know you've brought in a verdict of not guilty in the state's case against Jerry Williams for the murder of Thomas Blaine, and I do not blame you. The state did not produce sufficient evidence for you to have convicted him. This is most unfortunate, in view of the fact that you know as well as I do that the defendant is guilty. But nevertheless, I must now discharge you as having done your duty as you saw fit. Will the defendant please rise?
I guess you mean me, huh, Judge?
Yes, I mean you, Mr. Williams.
Okay. What's on your mind, Judge?
You will desist from smelling that gardenia in your buttonhole and listen to what I have to say.
Maybe I prefer smelling the flower.
Order! Order in this court! Mr. Williams, what has occurred in this courtroom during your trial is a gross miscarriage of justice. All of us here are well aware of that. And we are well aware of the fact that the state's witnesses failed to appear against you because you either bought them off or frightened them out of testifying against you.
Ain't that a shame?
Because the prosecution failed to bring the proper evidence against you, Mr. Williams, I am powerless to do anything but let you go free. But while you have been tried for the murder of Thomas Blaine...
Yeah, and freed of the murder, too. Don't forget that.
I am well aware of that, Mr. Williams. But I hope that you are as well aware that you have yet to stand trial for the murder of Frank Lash.
Judge, you try me for a dozen murders if you haven't got anything better to do this season. I got ways of beating any rap you tag me with. Pretty flower of gardenia, isn't it, Judge? I just love the smell of them.
And now on to Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy, friend to those who have no friend.
Here's your new gardenia, Jerry.
Thanks, Mac. So doesn't that smell good? Here, toss us all one in the wastebasket, Bozo.
Correct, Jerry.
You know, these things keep better outside of jail. Must be the fresh air.
Correct. Judge let you out on bail for the Frank Lash rap.
Well, he had to. Didn't want to seem prejudiced. Say, incidentally, you fellas did a nice job of quieting those witnesses against me in the Blaine killing.
It was a pleasure to do it, Jerry. Correct. And we got the witnesses of the Lash killing all fixed, too. Right, Bozo?
Correct. You ain't got a thing to worry about, Jerry.
Good. Say, there's a newscast on the radio right now. Let's see if the commentator's happy to know I'm a free man.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Never mind, Bozo. I'll turn it on.
Correct.
When they going to try you for the little job you did on Lash, huh?
I don't know. The date wasn't set. The judge didn't feel like chatting with me socially. Snob, don't you think? Gardenia sure do smell good. Wonder if buttonholes are just made to hold flowers like this.
Jerry, here's the news you wanted to hear.
Oh, yeah.
was freed of the murder of Thomas Blaine. But Williams, out on bail, is still to be tried for the murder of Frank Lash, found shot to death in Williams' waterfront hideout 6 weeks ago. The state is confident of a conviction in the Lash murder case, and today announced that a surprise witness will testify against Williams. You've heard this witness name before. It's Boston Blackie. State's Attorney John Gilligan says Boston Blackie will
Turn it
appear
off.
in the trial
Sure, Jerry,
against...
sure.
So Boston Blackie's gonna testify against me, huh?
We can take care of him just like we took care of the others, Jerry. Right, Bozo?
Correct.
Yeah, fellas, I think you'll pay Blackie a little visit.
This sort of puts the whammy on our plans for holding up that next bank truck, though, doesn't it?
No. We'll go through with that according to schedule. But first, Mac, I think you better see Boston Blackie.
Sure, Jerry.
And you too, Bozo. And just in case he wants to argue, take along your persuader, huh?
Correct.
I'm sorry, Mary, but I can't leave my apartment just now.
Oh, why not, Blackie? You said you'd be here in over an hour, and it's been almost...
I know, Mary. It's been almost 2 hours. Sorry, but I've been busy, and I'm still busy.
Blackie, what's the matter?
Nothing's the matter. I'm just busy, that's all.
Blackie, is something wrong?
Of course not. I'll phone you tomorrow. Goodbye. Now, what were you boys saying?
That you better suddenly have a very bad memory.
Yeah.
In regard to what?
We told you. In regard to what you think you saw happen to Frank Lash.
Oh, you're Jerry Williams' friend, huh?
Yeah.
I see.
And my pal Bozo here has another kind of friend pointing at you through his pocket. Hold it so we can see it, Bozo.
Correct. See it, Blackie?
Yes, quite well, thank you.
Well, now, Bozo here can make you lose more than your memory if you don't play ball with us, Blackie.
And what kind of ball do you fellows play?
8-ball with you behind it. Unless you decide to forget what you know about the Frank Lash killing.
You know something, fellas? You're so nice and sweet about this, I think I'll follow your little suggestion. In fact, I've never forgotten anything so fast in all my life.
Well, that's nice. But look, Blackie, no tricks, see? If you're lying to us about this, you'll find that girl you were just talking to lying in the street. So cold she can freeze ice. Get me?
Gotcha.
And if you don't, we get her. See? I'm going to try out, Blackie. Who was Frank Lash?
Lash? Never heard of him.
Okay, Blackie. You'll do. Let's go, Mac.
Blackie, you've cluttered up my office with some crazy ideas. But this is the craziest yet.
Faraday, you've got to listen to me. You've got to lay off Jerry Williams and his gang.
Nothing doing. I'm going to nab every last one of them, from Jerry on down.
Faraday, if my head was as big and as hollow as yours, I'd rent it out for a rehearsal hall. If you'll just do as I say, I'll see that you have the Williams gang. Not only rounded up, but convicted. Remember, I said convicted, but quick.
How do you know how long it'll take?
I don't, but I know if you do what I say, we'll get things done twice as fast. Look, I am not asking this for myself, but for Mary Wesley.
Mary? What's she got to do with this?
Nothing that she knows of. And part of the nothing is that the Williams gang will kill her if I remember what I know about Williams killing Lash.
You aren't going to forget to remember, are you?
Yes, I am, Faraday, until
Blackie, whose side are you on? I could arrest you for what you're planning to do. Look, if you don't forget this...
You do what I say, and I will remember.
You'd better. What do you want me to do?
Leave the Williams gang alone till I tell you when.
Oh, I'm supposed to grab him, but I gotta wait till you tell me when. What happens after that?
Don't worry, Faraday. I'll not only tell you when, as usual, I'll tell you where and how.
This waiting around gets on my nerves. What about you, Bozo?
Me, Mac? I ain't got no nerves. I ain't got nothing except this stick of dynamite in my mitt, and you got to toss it when that bank clerk shows up.
Working for Jerry is good for the pocketbook, but bad for the nerves. What happens if a cop passes by and wants to know why we're parked here?
What happens? I leave the dynamite for a second, and I talk him out of it with this rod of mine.
No cop killing, Bozo, do you hear?
I heard, but I don't understand. Only way there'll be no cop killing is if no cop shows up. Hey, Mac. Car coming.
It's a truck. The armored truck. Get ready, Bozo. Get ready.
Here, right. Here they come. Here goes the dynamite. And... there they go.
Good tossing, Bozo. Now, come on, we gotta grab that cash now and scram.
Right. Hey. Truck's busted wide open, but the driver looks still alive.
How long do you think he's gonna stay alive? Get him, Bozo. He's going for his gun.
Not anymore, he ain't.
That got him, Bozo. Now, let's haul this dough out of here fast.
You're right, Mac.
Come on, work fast before we have visitors.
All right.
Get that stuff over to our car, Bozo.
You're right. I'm getting it.
All right. I'll grab this sackful here.
Good.
That's the last of it. Now, let's scram. Hey, somebody's coming. Come on, let's get out of here.
You're right, Mac. We're all set to go.
Let's go, then.
Hey, inside the truck, what happened here? Hey, holy mackerel. Hey, you. Hey, what happened?
We got held up.
Held up?
Yeah.
Did you get a look at the guys who...
Two guys.
What'd you say?
Two guys in the car just now.
Two of them, huh? That car just pulled away. Did you know... too bad, pal. Well, I got a good look at him. I'll get even for you.
Hello, Mary.
Oh, it's you, Blackie.
It's me, Blackie. Is your appetite so terrific that you need a table for two all by yourself?
I've already eaten.
Well, sit with me, then. I'm just having a sandwich. And, Mary, don't be angry.
You didn't come to see me. I couldn't come to see you. I couldn't even call you up. And then you say, Mary, don't be angry. Just like that.
Well, don't be, Mary.
I don't want your excuses. I don't want your company. And right now, I don't even want your talk. Goodbye.
Hey, wait a minute, Mary. Aren't you going to have any dessert?
Not if I have to eat it with you standing here.
Okay, but you're not going to stay angry at me, are you?
I certainly am, and that's a promise. Goodbye.
Well, please keep that promise you made to me, Mary, because I've got to go to work and break a promise I made to the Jerry Williams gang.
Now back to Boston Blackie. Gang leader Jerry Williams, under indictment for the murder of Frank Lash, hears that Boston Blackie is to be one of the witnesses against him. But Williams' gang threatens Blackie and his friend Mary Wesley with death if Blackie testifies. So Blackie promised to forget it. Feeling safe again, the Williams gang hijacked an armored truck, killing its crew. As we return to our story, Inspector Faraday is questioning a witness to the hijack murder.
Look, Masters, didn't you tell me last night you could identify the men who held up that armored truck?
Well, last night, Inspector Faraday, I was too excited to know what I was saying.
You knew what you were saying, all right. And you said those 2 men in the police lineup last night were the men you saw hijack that truck and kill the driver and his rider.
I said that? I must have been crazy. I've never seen them before.
What did the Williams gang threaten to do to you?
No one threatened me with anything. I just didn't get a good look at the holdup men, that's all.
Get out of here, Masters.
Sure. Well, sorry, Inspector.
You ought to be. Goodbye. Of all the... Come in.
Hello, Inspector.
Get out of here, Blackie.
I won't get out of here till I find out what I can get out of you. Look, you grabbed a couple of rats from the Williams gang for that hijacking last night, didn't you?
Yeah, but I have to let them go.
Because the witness suddenly couldn't remember all that.
Just like you to bet on a sure thing.
Never mind about that. I'd like to talk to you. And if you'll listen, I think you'll like what you hear.
Who is it?
Boston Blackie.
Boston. Come in.
Fine little company, Williams?
Depends on whether or not the company minds me. So behave yourself, Blackie.
You want me to be a good boy? Oh, now, Williams is no prophet in being good.
No?
No. You ought to know that. You're one of the few men I know who disproves the theory that crime doesn't pay.
You know, Blackie, you know what you're doing? Anything pays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Say, it's a nice new gardenia in your buttonhole there. Kind of a trademark, isn't it?
I haven't been without a gardenia in my buttonhole for 5 years.
Okay. Expensive hobby. Look, you have a good business here. I like the way it operates.
You mean you like the way I run it?
Maybe that's it. Anyway, I'd like to join you. You could use me.
Yeah. I can use your head and I can use your hands, but I can't trust you.
Well, try me out then.
On a job, huh? Would you open the vault at the National Bank?
Too tough, especially for a job where I'd be on trial. I think you ought to give me something a little easier to start out.
So you're on the level about wanting in, aren't you? You'd enjoy the National Bank job. I would have known you were trying to trap me.
What about it? Am I in?
Well, I could use you on the safe of the Jones Express Company. I'll have a big cash shipment through tomorrow night. Would you open that one for me?
I don't know. I'd have to see it first. There are some safes even I can't open.
All right, Blackie. I still don't trust you. But I'm going to let you in. From now on, until the Jones Express job is over, though, I'm not letting you out of my sight. Out of my gun sight.
If I try to tip off the cops, I'll get it. That's it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm willing to come in on your terms, but you have to do a couple of things for me.
What, for instance?
Well, for one instance, I'd like to know who I'm working with. Who's in your gang?
Gang? I have 3 boys working for me.
Only 3?
That's all. But they're great. There's Mac McPherson, for one.
Oh, yes, I know him.
And Harry Tobin. He scares people into lapses of memory. Does it very well, too.
So Tobin's with you, huh? Well, you have a nice crew.
Oh, you bet I have. Bozo Leach is the 3rd member. Know him, too, don't you?
By reputation on his visit to me yesterday.
Well, those are the boys you work with. Satisfied?
Yes, I think so. Now, about the second thing you've got to do for me. I'd like to write a letter.
Nothing doing, Blackie.
But look, it's just to Mary Wesley, and it's really for your sake.
For my sake? How do you figure that?
You say you're not going to let me out of your sight until the job is over. Well, if I'm not around tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, Mary's going to get excited. Cops will be looking for me everywhere.
Well, that sounds right. Okay, you can send her a letter, only I'll write it. You just sign it. Well?
It's all right with me. But I think I'd better send a special delivery.
Send it any way you want.
Good enough. Now, when do I get to see the safe at the Jones Express Company?
Right now. But remember, Blackie, I'll have a gun in your back all the way. The first phony move, and it's your last. That's the safe over there, Blackie. Can you open it?
Where, Jerry?
You can see it behind that big stack of labels on the table.
Oh, yeah, I see it. I'll walk over and pretend to be inspecting the labels on that table in front of the safe. Let you know then. Coming?
You know I am, sweetheart.
I know.
Well, Blackie?
Yeah. Yeah, I can open.
All right. But no funny stuff when we get outside.
Don't worry.
Funny stuff, and you're the one who'll have to worry.
Say, may I mail my letter to Mary Wesley now?
Yeah. Let's see if that's the letter I addressed. Okay, mail it. Then we go back to my place. And tomorrow night, Blackie, you open that safe in the Jones Express Company. Well, come on. How soon will you have the safe open, Blackie?
It's open now, Jerry. I think. Yeah, there it is.
Good. This is where we get out of here. Come on, the boys are waiting outside to come in and get the money.
You still don't trust me, huh?
Nope. This gun of mine is still in your back. Come on.
All right.
All I wanted you for was open the safe. The boys out here will pick up the dough and meet us later. They know the hideout you picked out, and I warned them about the watchman. Psst, hurry.
Yeah, Jerry.
You, Bozo, and Mac go and get the dough.
Okay. Ready, Bozo? Correct. Come on, Mac.
Blackie and I'll meet you at the mill house at midnight. All right, so long, fellas. Good luck. Come on, Blackie, the car you drive.
Sure.
Well, so far, so good. All right, let's get out of here.
That suits me. I have one stop I want to make before we get to the mill house.
One stop, nothing. We're going straight.
But I have to make the stops.
Hey, what's all the shooting for?
Well, the watchman must have made an appearance. Your boys said they were going to take care of him. Guess they did.
Oh, yeah, the watchman. Huh? I guess I took care of him, all right. Nice boys, aren't they? So this is a stop you wanted to make, Blackie, at a florist?
That's right. Come on in.
I'll be careful what you say here, Blackie.
Good evening, gentlemen. Well, what can I do for you?
I'd like a gardenia, please.
A gardenia, all right. Of course. Just a minute, sir.
Hey, what's the idea, Blackie?
Well, Jerry, we've just pulled a great job. You like gardenias, so I thought I'd buy you one. Sort of a token of, partnership.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot, Blackie, but,
Look, you let me in, didn't you? Well, I want to show my appreciation for that
Here you are. I suppose you want it in a box.
Thank you. I'll take it. Here. Well, let's go, Jerry. We've got a pressing date that will relieve what you have pressing against my back. I hope.
Why'd you have to pick this creepy mill house to meet the boys, Blackie? My gardenia doesn't smell as good out here.
Here, well, the one I bought you.
Huh?
You're always hiding out in a swank place, Jerry. I figured this would be the last place in the world the cops would think to look for you.
Well, it's not a bad idea. I don't like the looks of that river running under the floor here. You know, the boys should have been here 15 minutes ago. Can't figure it. They're always on time.
Say, when are you going to put your gun away? I'm getting a little tired of looking at it.
I'll put it away when the boys get here. Hey, wait a minute. There's an awful lot of shootings we pulled away from that job. Too much shooting for killing just one guard, but just enough for shooting 3 guys. Don't move, Blackie, don't move.
What's the matter?
You know what the matter is. This whole deal's been a double cross, hasn't it?
What do you mean?
I mean, after you and I left the express company, the boys walked into a trap. And they got the boys, huh?
Maybe.
Maybe nothing. I don't know how you did it, Blackie, because I was with you all the time. I never let you out of my sight, but you tipped off the cops, and the boys are dead, aren't they?
Well, I wouldn't wait here for them too long if I were you.
Don't worry, I'm not. You probably got the cops on the way here, too, but they won't find me, Blackie. Just you, and all they'll find of you is your body.
You mean you'd kill me after I gave you that lovely gardenia?
Yeah, I love gardenias. But, Blackie, I don't like double-crossers. Stand still, stand still. I'm going to enjoy this. Now, first, thank you for the gardenia. You know, I always sniff a gardenia before I kill a guy. Now, Blackie, what? Say, so what's the matter with me?
You're going to sleep, Jerry, because there's chloroform on that gardenia.
What?
And there's a sleeping potion in this fist of mine.
Blackie, you all right?
Well, Inspector Faraday, late as usual. Yes, I'm all right. And this sleeping beauty on the floor here, he's all yours.
Oh, it's a lovely afternoon for a walk, isn't it, Blackie?
Well, that depends on whether you're forgiven for doubting me yesterday, Mary.
Oh, yes. Well, am I?
You are.
Good. You know, I understand now why you didn't want to see me. It was for my own protection, wasn't it? But there are a couple of things I don't understand.
What were those?
Well, for one, how did Inspector Faraday know that you were going to rob the Jones Express Company safe?
Oh, I sent him a Jones Express Company label, Mary, pasted on the back of an envelope addressed to you.
Yes, but I didn't get any letter from you.
I know, Mary. I knew Williams would never let me write to Faraday, so before I went out to join his gang, I told Faraday to watch your mailbox. Any letter sent special delivery to you would be a message to him. All he had to see was that label, and he knew where the Williams gang was going to work.
I see. Very, very clever. But now, my friend, just a minute. How did you get a gardenia with chloroform on it?
Well, that was arranged with the florist, Mary, before I went to see Williams.
Oh, I see. Well, your arrangement certainly worked out, Blackie. I see where Jerry Williams is going to be tried for the last murder.
Yes, and the witnesses have come forward and promised to tell all this time.
Why shouldn't they? Mr. Williams doesn't have any more on the outside to intimidate them. All the members of his gang were killed when they tried to shoot it out with the police at the Jones Express office, weren't they? Oh, Blackie.
What's the matter?
Look at the lovely flowers in this florist window here.
I get it. What kind would you like?
One of those lovely gardenias. You know, everybody loves gardenias, Blackie.
Really? Ask Mr. Jerry Williams what he thinks of gardenias, Mary. He'll tell you that to him, they were poison ivy.
"78 years ago, August 6, 1946, Boston Blackie, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, Jeff Regan Investigator.
At this moment, throughout the country, millions of motorists are beginning to wend their way home along crowded highways from a long Independence Day weekend. It is at times such as these when accidents happen more frequently, when death and driving draw closer together. You can help to decrease the accident and death rate on our nation's highways. Excessive speed for driving conditions is a major cause of many motor accidents. Control your speed at all times to keep within the safe speed, not just the legal limit. America's professional truck drivers are taught to drive ahead of themselves and to avoid accidents by seeing them threaten before they can happen. They know that careful driving keeps them from having accidents which may take lives. Speed is the #1 killer on the highways. So drive carefully today on your way home from an enjoyable weekend, and tomorrow wherever you go in your car. Exercise caution, courtesy, and the golden rule, for the life you save may be your own.
And this Tuesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues with an episode of Jeff Regan Investigator. While the show was originated using Jack Webb as the lead, in this episode from this date in 1950, 74 years ago, Frank Graham plays Regan, with Jeffrey Lyon being played by Frank Nelson. This episode entitled "There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around."
My My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery, suspense, and adventure in tonight's transcribed story titled, There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
It took a heap of threatening notes to make Buddy Huckle afraid, and we had plenty of threatening notes in this one. Individual words cut from poems and pasted on plain white paper to create a message of death. If you enjoy poetry, you hate Huckle, and everyone connected with this case enjoyed poetry. Maybe it has something to do with the dictaphone that wound up telling too much and a leggy blonde that told too little. It was 3 p.m. when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the Detective Bureau. Somehow he looked different.
Jeffrey, my boy.
Then I saw he was wearing a flowing black tie.
Listen to this, Jeffrey.
Where's your cape, Fatso?
Listen. Listen to the exhortation of the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all...
Poetry. You, Lion?
Well, just because you have no appreciation of the finer things in life, Jeffrey, doesn't mean that
Whose poetry?
Well, mine, of course.
You, the head of a detective agency, writing poetry?
A man who appreciates the beauty of the universe, the richness of living...
What's in it for you?
What do you mean by that snide remark?
What do you get out of writing this poetry?
I reap calm, peace, my boy.
How much money?
Now look here, Jeffrey.
How much?
$10,000 if I win.
Win what?
Well, our new client told me about the contest, my boy. There's a $10,000 prize for the poem, which, in the opinion of the judges...
I thought. Okay, Lion, who's the new client?
Buddy Huckle, the poet, America's Bard Laureate.
What's Hucklebuck's trouble?
No, Buddy Huckle. It seems someone is trying to intimidate him, keep him from creating more poetry.
Where do I find this bard?
At his office.
Office?
Well, he has to work someplace. Now, you get right down to this address and do what you can.
Did he, pay you?
There was a check for $200. Buddy Huckle is solvent.
Well, for an artist, that's suspicious.
Do a good job, my boy, and the Lion Detective Agency might turn up in his memoirs.
If I expected to find Buddy Huckle writing poetry in a hidden nook, I was in for a surprise. His office was on the Miracle Mile, brand new building, all glass and angles and curves. I checked the address the Lion had given me just to make sure. This was it. I squeezed into the Lucite elevator with salesmen, briefcases, secretaries, and a temperature of 110. Up in his office, there was a small desk and a little man behind it. Maybe 50, with a pink, seamless face and short white hair like popcorn glued to a billiard ball.
May I help you, sir?
You're Buddy Huckle?
Just a moment while I staple these poems.
My name's Regan. I'm from the Lion Detective Bureau.
Oh, yes. Mr. Huckle told me you were coming. Won't you sit down? I purchased that chair from the estate of H.W. Longfellow.
Where is Mr. Huckle?
Just a moment while I...
use the stapler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mr. Huckle now. Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle?
Come in here, Laszlo.
Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle.
Running behind schedule today.
Coming, Mr. Huckle.
The little man grabbed at a stack of stapled poems and made for the inner office, his arms and legs working like a crab's. When he disappeared into the inner office, I took a look around. Hung on the wall was a certificate of merit from the Amalgamated Advertising Agencies of America, made out to Buddy Huckle. It read, in gold leaf, "Your poems move merchandise." There was a stack of magazines on Laszlo's desk. I reached for one and was about to open it when Laszlo reappeared from the inner office.
Dear. Such a busy day.
When can I see the poet?
Soon. Oh, you've disturbed my stapler.
I must have done that when I picked up this magazine.
Yes, a wonderful magazine. Mr. Huckle contributes to it regularly.
Uh-huh. Folk stuff.
Yes. Mr. Huckle again. Yes, sir?
Send Regan in, Laszlo.
Yes, Mr. Huckle.
I may go right in.
Why, yes, but don't take too much of Mr. Huckle's time. He's a very busy man.
I found Buddy Huckle seated behind a bluish cast aluminum desk. Very utilitarian.
Utility, Mr. Regan. No frou-frou here.
Buddy Huckle had been handsome, but now he was a gross 40. His overlarge face hung in little white puffs, damp-looking.
Your time, Mr. Regan. You don't get work done sitting in the sun.
Over Huckle's desk hung the motto, Drive.
Regan, I can give you 3 minutes.
You're paying for it.
Hey, you're Regan, I like you.
Thanks.
You're utilitarian. No frou-frou. No...
What's the matter, Huckle?
Little white box on the desk.
Huckle was dying. His lips gathered blue patches around the edges. His huge head rolled weakly. I opened his desk and found a small white box. Inside there were pills as big as bullets. I shot one into his gaping mouth and he swallowed. In moments, his body firmed and he seemed to have come out of it.
Heart attack, Regan. Nothing. Have them all the time. Drive myself too hard, but that's all right. I've got money.
Makes nice salad.
You've given me a poem.
You use a dictaphone?
Of course. Did you think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and olive ink? Poem. Title. Money Ain't Salad. Money ain't salad, neighbor. Won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around. So spend your wealth, but not your health. Live wisely. Take a tip, for money sure ain't salad. It sure won't cure the grip. Signed, Buddy Huckle.
America's Bard Laureate.
Exactly. $100 a line.
Who's giving you trouble, Huckle?
Don't know. Take a look at these.
Poison pen notes.
Nasty business.
Uh-huh. Paste-up letters. No one's handwriting appears, so you couldn't check a typewriter. Very smart.
Yeah, all these words came from my published poem.
Yeah, individual words cut out of the poems, then pasted on a plain piece of white paper so they form a message.
Read that one.
One more poem with a chuckle, and death will take you, Huckle.
Oh, crude poetry. Rank imitation of my product.
And someone's threatening your life.
Trying to scare me into not competing in this year's Hotchkiss Award for time capsule poetry.
Time capsule poetry?
Yeah. The winning poem is placed in a time capsule and buried for posterity by Hotchkiss University. To win means nationwide publicity and, of course, a $10,000 prize.
Yeah, the lion told me. You have any idea who might want to stop your...
You're creating? No. That's why I'm paying your agency.
Mm-hmm. Who publishes most of your stuff?
I have a contract channeling my efforts into Folk Stuff magazine.
Okay, Huckle. If you need me, call me at Folk Stuff magazine.
Wait, Regan.
Yeah?
Regan, I'm scared.
He was scared. But it didn't stop his reaching for the dictaphone when I left. I'd given him another idea for a poem when I said I was going to check Folk Stuff. The magazine was located out in the cute section of Westwood. The building was 3 stories high and constructed to look like Paul Bunyan. The elevator operator said,
"Howdy, neighbor,"
and took me to the editorial offices. I expected to see old Father William behind the editor-in-chief's desk. But what I found was young, blonde, formed by a strict diet and exercise, dressed by Vogue, and had a voice like a warm night.
Come in, Mr. Regan.
The secretary said I'd find the editor-in-chief in here.
Sit down, Mr. Regan. I'm the editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
My name's Julie. If you're a writer, Mr. Regan, I'll publish you.
Well, that's not what I had in mind.
Then perhaps we might do a manuscript together.
That's nice, but...
I'll just turn on the phonograph. I hope you like American folk music.
Love it.
Get so lonely working up here in Paul Bunyan.
We can be lonely anywhere.
People think me unapproachable. I surprise them.
Sure, lady. Now, about Buddy Huckle.
Oh, him.
Come to think of it, maybe I'd rather hear about you. How come?
All this?
Yeah.
Why, I'm in charge of a folksy magazine.
Something like that.
There's money in folks, Mr. Regan. I bought out this magazine when I learned how many folks there were in America.
Oh. Do the, folks know about you?
We don't have many folks out here in California. Mostly the sophisticated type, Mr. Regan. The kind that would take advantage of a girl if they were left alone with her.
Uh-huh.
But I see you want to get back to Buddy Huckle.
Yeah, I had that in mind.
What do you want to know?
Do you know anyone around here that would like to see Huckle stop producing poetry?
Practically all of us feel that way.
Or maybe kill him?
We're all of us capable of murder, aren't we, Mr. Regan?
Works that way.
But why do you ask about Buddy Huckle?
Well, he has a contract with your magazine. You publish all his poetry.
There must be some mistake, Mr. Regan. I don't publish a line of his.
I nodded once because of impact. Then I nodded again to say goodbye. I left still nodding to the elevator operator who said,
So long, neighbor.
You know anything about Buddy Huckle?
Just he's doing a big broadcast from an Oklahoma barbecue over Long Beach night, neighbor.
I headed for Long Beach to have a long talk with Buddy Huckle. It was beginning to look like a publicity setup. When I arrived, I found the broadcasting studio on the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. Just outside the studio door stood a woman, middle-aged, her hand gripped in her handbag. That old look of murder on her face.
Let go of my arm.
What's in the handbag, lady?
If you think I'm going to say hairpins, you're nuts.
All right, let's take a look.
I got a gun.
I thought maybe...
Let me go!
You're looking for someone?
Yeah. That louse, Huckle.
You've been sending him love notes you've cut out of magazines?
Who are you?
Regan, private investigator.
Well, I'm not afraid of you.
That's nice.
I was Buddy Huckle's wife, Regan. Now he's cut off my alimony, and I'm going in there to shoot him dead.
A lot of people in there, lady. Witnesses.
Oh. You say you're right.
Thank you.
You talked me out of it.
Goodbye, lady.
Goodbye, mister. And thanks.
The broadcasting room was a regular hotel room that had been wired for sound. There was a character in a padded suit that kept eyeing a clock and rubbing his moist hands on his sleeves. This must have been the producer. Buddy Huckle was seated at a green-top table, his eyes on the papers in front of him. Wasn't quite 10, so I said hello.
Hello, Regan. I'm on the air in 2 minutes.
Oh, that's a lifetime, Huckle. If you had a dictaphone, you could make yourself $1,000 in 2 minutes.
Maybe 500.
You don't look scared.
That. You can forget our little talk of this afternoon. While I was dictating this afternoon, the culprit walked in, Mr. Regan. I found out who it was threatening me, sending me the note.
Would you mind telling me who?
Oh, nothing to worry about, nothing at all. I don't know why I was so concerned. Just figure your time and make me a refund on my retainer.
A certified pleasure.
Huh?
Quiet, please. We're ready to cut you in now, Mr. Huckle.
I'm ready, George.
Okay, stand by. You're on the air in a second. Take my cue.
Well, howdy, folks. This is America's Board Laureate, Buddy Huckle, a-talking to you. And, folks, I got a swell little old poem for you folks that I hope you're plumb going to like a lot. I kind of like to call it Money Ain't Salad. Goes, say, money ain't salad, neighbor. It won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around.
I couldn't take it. I gently made my way around George, the radio producer, to the door and out. It took me a little time to make my way through the crowd down to the street, and I stood there on the sidewalk for a few moments wondering about Buddy Huckle. Maybe Huckle wasn't as safe as he thought. But that was his business now. And suddenly, high overhead above the sounds in the street, there was a shattering of glass. Screams from the street as a figure came hurtling toward the pavement. I jumped. Just in time. The body hit the sidewalk. If you looked hard, you could recognize what was left as Buddy Huckle. The final poetic touch was a framed sign that hit right after the body. On the sign was the motto, Drive.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan Investigator, entitled There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
A man's body was spread-eagled on a concrete sidewalk. He'd fallen, or been pushed, from the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. The body had belonged to a poet named Buddy Huckle. Very popular guy. His discarded wife had been in the hotel gunning for him, and somebody had been sending Huckle notes threatening his life. Maybe his wife. Well, now he didn't have to worry about the race for popularity. He was dead. Since all concerned were L.A. people, Homicide finally put Sanducci on the case. When Sanducci finished in Long Beach, we drove back to L.A. in his squad car, the hearse following us.
Facts, Regan. Look at the facts.
Facts can lie, Sanducci. What's your theory?
You can't convict on theory. Speed it up, Max. We'll never make L.A.
Okay, what are your facts, Sanducci?
Look, fact one.
Let me try. Buddy Huckle is dead.
Smart boy.
Fact two, he fell to his death from 5 stories up.
Right.
His former wife was spotted at the scene of the crime.
And she was gunning for her former husband, Buddy Huckle. You said so yourself, Regan.
Oh. What about George, the radio producer?
He was still in the studio. Didn't see anything. Step on it, Max.
There were no witnesses.
There were 3. They say they saw a woman running away from the scene of the crime.
Oh, you know how witnesses become confused, Sanducci. They may all be wrong.
Said woman became lost in the crowd during the confusion.
Yeah, and you now have an all-points call-out on Buddy Huckle's former wife.
The woman is dangerous, Regan. She's armed.
Well, didn't the witnesses say they saw anything else?
How much you want a witness to see, Regan? Be satisfied.
You know the trouble with facts, Sanducci? You gotta stop when you've got all that'll fit. Where do you place that motto that came down on top of the body?
Give it time. It'll fit.
Yeah, well, it so happens it came from the wall of Buddy Huckle's office.
Look, did you ever hear of planted clues, Regan? The dame is trying to outsmart us. She planted the sign, tried to throw us off.
All right, have it your way, Sanducci. Hurry up, Max. We gotta get back to L.A. fast. Hey, why is he slowing down?
Regulations. Max doesn't take orders from anybody but me. All right, step on it, Max.
We arrived in town. The time of night you think you see figures waiting with knives in every puddle of dark. 3 a.m. First, I had to check with the Lion. I made it to his apartment. There was a wafer of light coming from under his door. I walked in. The Lion was sound asleep on the couch. A pencil hanging from his mouth, sheets of scribbled paper on the floor. Come on, Lion, get off.
Hello, public library. Send me. Oh, it's you, Jeffrey.
Expecting a love bandit?
I must have forgotten to lock the door.
One world and a lock on every door.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I was working on my entry for the Hotchkiss Award for Time Bomb Poetry.
Capsule.
Oh, yes. I have another stanza, Jeffrey. Listen. The glory of action, the splendor...
Lion, our client is dead.
Dead? Oh, but that's horrible, my boy. When?
No
How?
time for that. Look, I gotta have your help to find Buddy Huckle's former wife.
Yeah, but I'd planned on spending the rest of the night working on my poem.
Her first name is Mona. That's all we've got. You've got to find her while I check on a dictaphone and a blonde editor.
Oh, a description, Jeffrey.
About 5'10", medium build, brown hair. Last seen in Long Beach wearing a yellow cotton dress, no hat. You're racing the police on this one, Lion. And when you get her, hang on, but be careful. She's wanted for murder. For what I needed, there was only one place to go now. The inner office of the late Buddy Huckle. Dark inside the office. Very. The door to the inner office was locked. None of my keys would work, so I used my shoulder. The door gave, and I was in the inner office. I snapped the lights on. When a man's just dead and you're in his room, you keep looking around for him. And I was alone, and I saw what I wanted, the dictaphone. I played the wax roll that was on the machine.
Sign the Bard Laureate, Buddy Huckle.
I heard a lot of stuff. Poems, mostly, delivered in his rapid-fire manner. Then I heard myself.
You used a dictaphone? Of course. Do you think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and mauve ink? Poem. Title. Money ain't
I lifted the playback head. For luck, I tried the end of the dictaphone record. This was really good.
The sign comes, the silent thrust of death by the tempered blade. Sharp, sweet sharpness. I refuse to read any more of this tribe.
Yeah, that didn't sound like Buddy's rhyming cry-pie type of poetry. I played the very end of the record to get the signature, signed Buddy Huckle. But instead I got...
You've made me read this, but I won't sign this lousy poem.
That was the end of the record. Suddenly, without looking up, I knew there was someone standing behind me.
You're Regan.
Mona.
I saw you earlier, now I see you again.
What are you doing here?
I ain't so dumb I don't know the cops are after me.
Well, they probably know you're here right now.
I snuck in.
Now, you're not going to reach into that purse for your gun again.
I hocked it in an all-night joint.
Well, look, why don't we just sit down quietly and talk, Mona?
Yeah, well, I ain't so dumb I don't know what you're trying to do, mister.
What am I trying to do, Mona?
Well, I just came here to see if maybe Huckle made out an alimony check for me and maybe didn't mail it.
That's what I'm trying to do?
I need all the money I can get now that the cops are hot after me for something I didn't do.
You're sure you didn't push Buddy Huckle through that window, Mona?
I ain't got the strength.
Guess not.
I need dough to run away from the cops, Mr. Regan. Maybe you could take my case, huh? I got $6 for the gun.
Well, maybe I can help you, Mona. Look, hole up in the Rounder Hotel. Give a fictitious name. The police are liable to check this office.
Gee, you've been real good to me, Mr. Regan. You took my case, and here's my $6.
No thanks. We'll take it up with the Lion later.
The Lion?
Never mind. But find that hotel. I've got to find an editor-in-chief. The phone book gave me Julie's home address. Julie being the editorial brains behind Folk Stuff magazine. It was almost dawn now, but when I rang the doorbell of her swank apartment, I got an immediate response.
Come in, Mr. Regan.
I went in.
You know the police have already come and gone.
Yeah, they get around.
You're expecting to find something they didn't?
Thought maybe.
Drink, Mr. Regan.
Well, it has been a long night.
Say when.
Now.
Rugged individualist. Decided to do that manuscript with me?
Not what I had in mind, lady.
Maybe you'll tell me what you did have in mind.
You were closer to Buddy Huckle than most people know.
Just so, sir.
Huckle had a reputation as a poet. He set you up as editor of Folk Stuff magazine. But you were pretty rich, even for his blood.
You know, you're wrong, Mr. Regan.
I am?
But it makes a good story. More?
Why don't you try? Maybe it'll make more sense.
The magazine Folk Stuff does belong to me, Mr. Regan. No strings. Although Huckle did like to spend money on women, I wasn't one of them.
Sounds good. Go on.
Buddy Huckle had a reputation that helped sell my magazine. There was only one thing. He couldn't write poetry.
Oh. So when you told me that Huckle didn't write a line that went into Folk Stuff, you weren't lying, huh?
Even I couldn't stand his poetry. I made little changes here and there in every line. It gave me a sense of accomplishment. He didn't seem to mind.
Well, lady, I guess that's all here.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
Lonely Julie grabbed my lapels, held me tight, and kissed me, but I managed to break away. After a while. I had to leave in the line of duty. And the man I had to see was the one that had last seen Buddy Huckle alive. George, the radio producer. I reached him at his home.
Mr. Regan.
You produced Buddy Huckle's broadcast at the Ocean Stone Hotel last night.
Lousy show, no fire.
Yeah, but you were the last man to see Buddy Huckle alive.
No, there must have been somebody else.
You followed Huckle out into the hallway after the... Lied to the police. You must have seen something. What?
I stayed in the studio.
Talk, George. Open up.
Ow! I don't want to get mixed up in it.
Talk.
Let me alone. Now. All right. I got a police record back in Shy, Regan. You won't...
No deals. But make it the truth.
Okay. It was just I didn't want to get mixed up in no killing.
What'd you see?
I followed the star out of the studio like I always do to tell him it was a great show.
Yeah?
Only when I opened the door, I saw this little guy pop out of the crowd and plant his two hands against the star.
Buddy Huckle?
Yeah, and push him through the window.
Thanks, George. That's all I need.
I tried to step back before I saw it happen. I got a record, Regan.
Sure. Try not to worry, George. Everything may turn out all right. The little man, George, had seen push Huckle out of the window, could be Laszlo, Huckle's secretary. I checked all morning trying to find Laszlo, but he'd disappeared from the face of the earth. Then I got to thinking what kind of a guy Laszlo appeared to be. A thinker. Now, where would a thinker type go to hide if he was afraid of something? Someplace familiar to give him a sense of security, yet off the beaten path. It hit me. Sure. The public library. And that's where I found him. 2 flights below street level in the last reference room. Laszlo. His round popcorn white head was bent over a book. Hanging above his head was the public library sign, Silence.
It's you again.
Come with me, Laszlo.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Stop poking your pocket at me, Laszlo.
It's a dueling pistol. It belonged to Edgar Allan Poe, and it'll fire again in righteous cause.
Yeah, sure. Now listen, Laszlo. I know you finally blew your top about Huckle's poetry. You sent him those pasted notes threatening his life to keep him from writing any more.
He dictated his poetry.
It's all over, Laszlo.
No. You can't prove anything.
You were seen pushing Huckle to his death.
Oh. But I just couldn't stand it any longer. Today, after you left, I held this dueling pistol to his head and made him dictate one of my poems for spite. And then I resigned.
Go on.
He put money ahead of art. With his reputation, he was going to win the Hotchkiss Prize without their even looking at his work, while my poetry would go begging. Do you realize that I am one of only 4 men in the world who really understands Gertrude Stein?
Go on, Laszlo.
I didn't want to hurt him. Just frighten him into ceasing to write poetry.
You followed him to the broadcast last night.
Yes, it was a last resort. I was going to interrupt the broadcast. Tell the world he was an imposter, not a poet.
Yeah, but you had the motto from his wall with you.
Yes, positive proof of his inartistic approach. His motto was drive. But I couldn't go through with it. I was leaving when...
You saw Huckle leave the scene of his latest triumph, the broadcasting studio. This was too much. You killed him.
I was blind with rage.
In pushing Huckle, you dropped the motto out of the window, huh?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember. It all happened so fast.
Let's forget the dueling pistol, Laszlo. Just come along quietly.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Hand that gun over, Laszlo.
No, stand back!
The dueling pistol went off in his hand. The bullet cracked the ceiling. I grabbed the gun away from Laszlo. He didn't put up much of a fight. And then I led him from the library as quietly as possible. Sanducci, down at Homicide, felt as sorry for Laszlo as I did. But now Laszlo should have plenty of time to write poetry and not worry about selling it. State will take care of him. George, the radio producer, got a dressing down for withholding information, and I called Mona to tell her she was no longer under suspicion. And that wrote the end. It was high noon when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the bureau. He was reciting.
Oh, yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision.
You still can enter the poetry contest, Fatso?
Of course, my boy. The 10,000's as good as mine. I've just completed my work of art.
Okay. How does it go?
Oh, it's classic, Jeffrey. Reminiscent of ancient Sanskrit poetry. In translation, of course.
Well, I've had a hard night, but I'd like to hear it.
Well, you've heard most of it. I'll just give you the ending.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
And tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness.
Oh, that's real fine.
Oh, yes. And every tomorrow a vision of hope. Why are you walking around?
Oh, just looking, Lion.
Now, you just sit still while I finish. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the dawn.
Uh-huh. What's this in your wastebasket?
Nothing, Jeffrey.
A library book.
Give me that.
Oh, no.
The cleaning woman must have dropped it there.
What title of book? Great Poems by Unknown Poets.
Yeah. Well, since nobody claims them, Jeffrey, it would be a shame to see them go to waste.
Jeff Regan Investigator is written by William Frug and Gilbert Thomas, produced and transcribed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Kollmar. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
From CBS's West Coast Network, 74 years ago, August 6, 1950, Jeff Regan Investigator here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On our Wednesday program, we'll start off with Mystery in the Air starring Peter Lorre, an episode of The Whistler, a couple of westerns, Have Gun Will Travel starring John Dehner, Reed Hadley and Wade Crosby in Frontier Town, and we'll wrap it up with an episode of Lum and Abner. Coming up next, Dangerous Assignment.
America's Protestants, Catholics, and Jews are strengthening the bonds of brotherhood and friendship by helping the needy overseas. Through their houses of worship, these three faiths are sending voluntary relief to virtually every free country in the world. Hundreds of millions of pounds of goods, clothing, and medicine will go to victims of war, disaster, and famine in many parts of the world. More than 80% of American voluntary relief work for the hungry and needy overseas is conducted through the religious agencies of these three major faith groups. When you share with needy persons overseas through your house of worship, you are promoting the spirit of democracy that unites all peoples for peace and goodwill. You are keeping faith with the finest tradition and heritage of America. CBS Radio urges you to keep faith with those in need overseas by giving as much as you can through your faith.
Now on this Tuesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Brian Donlevy in an episode of Dangerous Assignment, 75 years ago, August 6th, 1945.
The National Broadcasting Company brings you Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell in Dangerous Assignment. The time, 10 p.m. The place, the spacious drawing room of a villa in the south of France overlooking the Mediterranean. A stout man in a velvet dressing gown sits at the piano, his stubby fingers gliding expertly over the keys.
Come in, Philippe. Oh, I thought you were Philippe, my butler.
You were wrong, Barranco.
Who are you? And how did you get into my villa?
I'm called Dominic, and I walked in.
But what do you want?
Only a trifle, Barrancos. Your life.
What?
Such a discord.
You've seen him in such pictures as Canyon Passage, American Romance, and The Great McGinty. Now, here is our star, Brian Donlevy, in another two-fisted portrayal as Steve Mitchell in Dangerous Assignment.
Well, here he is, Commissioner. Guess where I found him? On second thought, better not guess.
Steve? Hello, Commissioner. Well, where am I going this time?
Paris.
Paris. Hey, what was her name now?
Don't count on that, Steve. And no horse races either. This isn't a pleasure trip. It's strictly business and dangerous business.
I might have known. Okay, Commissioner, let's have it.
Steve, last week a man fell down an elevator shaft in Bombay. Died instantly. 5 days ago, a private plane crashed near Stockholm. The owner also died instantly.
Oh, so there have been a couple of accidents around the world. What's that got to do with me?
We thought they were accidents at first, but night before last, a third man was murdered in his villa in the south of France, shot to death while sitting at his piano.
Can anyone play that bad?
Steve, there's a tie-in between these three men, one that's tremendously important to us. These dead men were all millionaires in their own countries. 2 weeks ago, 7 of them met to plan a giant merger.
What kind of a merger?
They pooled all their capital to form a holding company which would finance industrial expansion in backward countries.
I see.
We believe that interests hostile to the plan are obstructing it.
Well, sounds like a pretty effective way to obstruct it, all right. Killing off the partners. You say there were 7 originally. That leaves 4 now.
3. Last night, the killer struck again.
What?
In Paris. 2 of the partners had dinner together. Marcel Laborde and the American Scott Wheeler. As they left the cafe, they were fired on. Laborde was killed.
You know, I'm beginning to think you've got a nice, safe job picked out for me, Commissioner. I get to play bodyguard, huh?
As usual, you'll pose as a foreign correspondent after an interview with the American, Scott Wheeler. Actually, your job is to protect him and the other surviving partners, and to get to the bottom of these killings.
Where's this Scott Wheeler staying?
At the Hotel Brevant. That will be your first stop in Paris.
Ruth got my press credentials and passport ready?
And your plane ticket. You take off in 2 hours. Steve, We don't want anything to interfere with the plans of these men. Those killings have got to be stopped. That's your assignment, Steve. Good luck.
Welcome to Hotel Brabant, monsieur. What type of accommodation would you prefer?
I'll let you know later. Right now, I'd like the number of Scott Wheeler's room here.
I beg your pardon.
Hello.
You wish to see Mr. Wheeler?
That's right.
May I ask your name?
You may. I'm Steve Mitchell. I'm a foreign correspondent.
Hello. I'm Martha Vaughn. May I see your credentials? Your press credentials. May I please see them?
Yes, I guess so. I don't quite understand.
I'm Scott Wheeler's secretary.
Oh, sure. Here they are.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. It's just that we don't wish to take any chances, particularly after the recent attempt on Mr. Wheeler's life.
Matter of fact, that's what I want to interview him about.
Oh? All right. I'll take you up to his suite, if you don't mind.
Should I mind?
Look.
Oui, monsieur.
That man who was just here, he was Steve Mitchell?
Oui, he was a friend of yours.
In a way. Thank you.
Monsieur, you wish to leave a message for him?
No. I will deliver it to him later. In person.
Go on in, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you.
Hello, Martha.
Well, Mr. Wheeler, this is Steve Mitchell. He's a foreign correspondent from the United States.
Hello.
Glad to know you, Mitchell. Meet my associate, Gordon Hemsley.
Hi.
How do you do? Well, I'll be running along, Wheeler. Ring me up as soon as Voorhees arrives, will you?
Okay.
Good day, gentlemen.
Well, what can I do for you, Mitchell?
Well, I believe he'd like a story about the shooting night before last, Mr. Wheeler.
That's right.
There's not much to tell. Laborde and I had dinner together, took a walk afterward. Laborde felt like a cognac, so we stopped in a little place called La Patate.
La Patate?
Yes. That's
slang for potato, isn't it?
Yes. They think of some strange names for their bars. Anyway, we had a drink and left. Just as we went out the door, I heard some quick footsteps behind us. I started to turn around. The next thing I knew, one bullet whistled by my ear, another one hit Laborde and killed him.
I see. I'd like to take a look at this bar where the shooting took place.
La Patate?
Yeah. Where is it?
Well, it's sort of a hard place to find. Martha, why don't you show Mitchell where it is? All right with you, Mitchell?
I can't think of a guide I'd rather have, Mr. Wheeler. Thank you.
I'll try not to get you lost, Mr. Mitchell.
Would that be bad?
Come on.
So this is the potato. Sounds like a hot potato right now. That's some music.
That's what they call le jazz haute, Mr. Mitchell.
I can believe it. You know, I've got one rule with all my guides, Martha.
Mm-hmm.
They call me Steve.
All right. You sound like you've had a lot of guides, Steve.
I get lost easily.
No.
You worked for Mr. Wheeler very long, Martha?
What? About a year.
Like it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be talking about me all of a sudden, Steve. I thought it was the attempt on Mr. Wheeler's life you were interested in.
I've got a two-track mind. Okay, I'll get back on track one. Now, as I get it, Wheeler and Laborde came here, had one drink, and left.
Yes, the shooting took place right outside. Apparently someone followed...
What's the matter?
Steve, that little man who just walked by.
What? Oh, the gent with squeaky shoes? What about him?
Well, I've noticed him hanging around the lobby of our hotel lately.
What?
Yes, and night before last, just after Mr. Wheeler and Laborde went out to dinner, he left too.
Hey, maybe we should have a talk with him.
Steve, look. He saw us watching him. He's going out the front door.
Come on.
I wonder...
What?
Nothing. We'll talk about it later.
There he goes in that cab.
Come on. There's another cab over here.
Yeah. Driver?
Oui, monsieur. Taxi cab, huh?
Yeah. That cab, hightailing it down the street. Don't let it out of your sight. Let's go. Squeaky Shoes knows he's being followed, all right. That cab of his is really traveling.
Steve, look. He's stopping in front of that building in the next block.
Yeah. He's running inside. Driver, pull up behind that other cab.
Oui, monsieur.
Hey, what kind of a building is this, anyway?
What? It's a museum, Steve.
Museum? Okay, we'll look inside. Some museum, Martha. Looks like King Arthur's Round Table.
We're in the medieval room, Steve. The armor, the weapons, and the tapestries are all from the Middle Ages.
Too many places for Squeaky Shoes to hide. Look at all those drapes.
He's got to be in here somewhere, Steve.
Unless there's a back door to this place.
I didn't think of that.
Boy, these suits of armor really must have been comfortable on a hot day.
Look at the battle axe with this suit.
Yeah, reminds me of a lot of old mother-in-law jokes. Well, come on, let's go.
Oh, Steve, watch out!
Huh?
The armor, the battle axe, it's falling. Steve, you all right?
Yeah. I almost got a haircut the hard way. Look, help me get this tin tuxedo off me.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. Somebody behind the drapes shoved it over. He's probably long gone by now. Well, come on, Martha. Let's go back to Wheeler's suite. Mr. Wheeler, I think it's time we laid a few cards on the table. I'm not just after a story. I've been assigned to investigate these killings. Here are my credentials.
I see.
Mr. Wheeler, in that case, I'd better tell Mr. Mitchell what I was going to tell you.
What do you mean, Martha?
The little man with the squeaky shoes. Yesterday, I saw him at the door to Mr. Hemsley's suite, like he'd just come out.
What?
You sure about that, Martha?
Later, I saw him go into a rooming house across the street.
Mr. Wheeler, this Squeaky Shoes boy could be the one who took a shot at you and Laborde the other night.
But what would he be doing in Hemsley's room?
I don't know yet. Come on, Martha. Let's take a look at that rooming house.
I think this is it, Steve.
Looks like a real dive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But at least it's a convenient location just across the street from Hemsley's hotel.
You think there is some connection between them, Steve?
Let's go in. Whew. Fresh air would really smell funny in here.
There don't seem to be any rooms downstairs, Steve.
Come on, we'll try the stairway.
Steve, wait. You hear that?
Yeah. Squeaky Shoes.
There he is at the head of the stairs.
Hey, you. Wait a minute. I want to talk to you. Hey, what's the matter with you?
Steve, he's bleeding.
He's grabbing at his chest. Get out of the way, Martha. Here he comes. Holy smoke.
Steve, is he still breathing?
Not anymore.
In just a moment, our star, Brian Donlevy, returns as Steve Mitchell in Dangerous Assignment. Today, the armed forces of the United States are concerned with hundreds of contributions to the activities of peace. America's forces are scientific forces devoted largely to the training of scientists and technicians, specialists in the techniques that make for better living in peacetime. Yes, America's armed forces constitute the world's greatest scientific enterprise. And to man that enterprise, the services are seeking suitable trainees capable of profiting from education and capable of leadership and responsibility. For the right men, the armed forces offer a whole world of technical training for the service and for the future. So if you're thinking of an active career, an educational career, a vital career, think of the armed forces of the United States. Now, the National Broadcasting Company brings you Act Two of Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy in the role of Steve Mitchell. time, 30 seconds later. Steve and Martha have run up the stairs and are searching the dead man's room.
Nothing here that I can see, Steve.
Killer must have gone out the window, Martha. Still open. Well, let's go on back.
Steve. Looks like the doorway is occupied.
Oh?
I'm Inspector Brisac of the Sûreté. Your name, monsieur?
Steve Mitchell. I'm a foreign correspondent. This is Miss Martha Vaughn.
Mademoiselle?
Inspector?
Monsieur, what connection exists between you and the dead man downstairs?
Connection? None at all.
Then what are you doing in his room?
Trying to find the guy who stabbed him a couple of minutes ago.
And you do not know the dead man at all?
I don't even know the guy's name.
It is Dominique.
Dominique? That's supposed to mean something to me?
It does to most of the police in Europe, monsieur. Dominique was a hired killer.
Oh? You happen to know who his last boss was?
No, monsieur, but we had heard Dominique was in Paris and had trailed him here. As you see, a few moments too late.
Yeah. Well, look, Inspector, this is all very nice. But if you'll excuse me, I have a transatlantic call to put in.
You say you are a foreign correspondent, Monsieur Mitchell.
That's why the telephone call. My boss likes to hear from me now and then.
Monsieur, perhaps your interest in this affair is greater than the procuring of a mere story, and perhaps not.
Well, you've covered all the possibilities, Inspector.
In any case, you will please keep yourself available for questioning. Paris is a big city, monsieur, but I am quite capable of finding you should you choose to hide. Kindly do not put me to the trouble.
Yes, Ruth.
It's Steve calling from Paris, Commissioner. He's on the line now.
Good. Hello?
Hello, Commissioner.
Steve, how you doing?
Who knows? A few hours ago, I had a near miss with a battle axe.
What?
Oh, no one you know.
Now, Steve.
No, I mean literally, Commissioner. I had a hot lead for a while, a hired killer who needed a new pair of shoes. His name was Dominic.
Was?
Yeah. Somebody with a sharp knife beat me to him.
Any other leads, Steve?
Well, there may be a tie-in between Dominic and the Englishman, Gordon Hemsley,
What?
one of the partners. Yeah, that's right. Nothing definite on him yet. There's still someone missing from the party, a third surviving partner, Carl Voorhees. He's supposed to arrive from Amsterdam tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Why, Steve, we have information that Voorhees has been in Paris for 2 days.
Oh, that's interesting. Incidentally, Commissioner, I wish you'd check on the exact terms of that merger.
All right, Steve. Why?
Oh, just a hunch I'm working on. Cable what information you can get to me at the Hotel Brabant. I'm on my way back there now to talk to Wheeler again.
Mitchell, I'm no hero. If I'd known what this merger was going to mean, I'd never have gone into it, in spite of the good I know it'll do. But it's too late to back out now. All the papers have been signed.
I think you should leave Paris, Mr. Wheeler.
Don't worry. As soon as this meeting's over, I'm going to.
What's the timetable on the meeting, Mr. Wheeler?
Voorhees is coming in tomorrow from Amsterdam. He, Hemsley, and I are meeting tomorrow night around 10 to set a few final details. Then the quicker I get out of Paris, the better. Who?
I'll go, Mr. Wheeler. Who is it, please?
Carl Voorhees.
Voorhees?
Good evening, Wheeler.
Hello, Voorhees. I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow.
I decided to come tonight.
You know Martha?
Fräulein?
This is Steve Mitchell, a foreign correspondent.
Hello.
Millionaire Mitchell.
You say you just got in, Mr. Voorhees?
An hour ago.
That's funny. I heard you got in 2 days ago.
That is a lie.
Is it?
Mynheer Mitchell, my affairs are no concern of yours.
Where are you staying, Voorhees?
At the Continental.
Oh, just across the street.
Well, it's too late to get anything done tonight, Voorhees.
Where's Hemsley?
Hemsley, he's staying at the Splendide. I suggest we meet here in my suite tomorrow night. How about 9:30?
Yeah. I see you then, Wheeler.
Good night.
Good night, Fräulein. And
Night.
Mynheer Mitchell.
Good night.
I wonder what he's been doing those 2 days he's been here.
So do I.
Mr. Mitchell, I'm worried. I'd appreciate it if you'd be here tomorrow night for that meeting also.
Might be a good idea.
If you could get here before the rest come, say, a little before 9?
Okay. Well, I'm going over to see your partner, Gordon Hemsley. You better stay in your room all day tomorrow, Mr. Wheeler. I'll see you tomorrow night. About 8:45.
Really, Mr. Mitchell, I can't say I relish being disturbed this late at night, just because you want some sort of silly interview.
Well, I'd like at least to get a statement from you, Mr. Hemsley. 7 of you put through a merger. So far, 4 partners have been killed. That leaves just 3 of you. Yourself, Wheeler, and Voorhees.
Oh, I'll get it, Mr. Hemsley.
Righto. Very well, Mr. Mitchell, I'll give you a statement. This merger will accomplish a great deal of good. I personally intend to carry it through regardless of threats or any consequences to me.
Speaking of threats, can you throw any light on the death of a hired killer named Dominic?
Dominic? I don't know anyone by that name.
Don't you? He was seen outside your room shortly before he was killed.
Why,
Mr. Hensley.
Yes?
It's Voorhees on the telephone. He said when he was here this afternoon, he forgot to ask...
Voorhees here? Never mind. I'll take the call. You have your statement, Mr. Mitchell. Would you please excuse me?
Sure. And thanks. See you around.
I wish I'd set this meeting earlier. What time is it, Mitchell?
2 minutes to 9, Wheeler.
Oh. Care for another drink?
Thanks. Wheeler, you ever hear of a thing called a squeeze play?
Squeeze play? Oh. Here's your drink.
Thanks. How sure are you of your partners, Hemsley and Voorhees?
What are you getting at, Mitchell?
They met yesterday afternoon.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure yet.
Well, I wish I'd never gotten into this deal in the first place. Come on, let's go into the drawing room. It's a little more cheerful in there.
Okay. Incidentally, I've been meaning to ask you. You say you hired Martha about a year ago.
That's right.
Who recommended her to you?
Let's see. Why, it was Hemsley.
Uh-huh.
After you, Mitchell.
Where are the lights, Wheeler?
Over on the other wall.
Okay, I'll get... Oh, my head. Wheeler. Hey, you're bleeding.
Shot. Shoulder, I think.
What happened?
Don't know. Saw someone hit you on the head. I tried to dodge. Shot me in the shoulder. Then he ran out.
Okay. Ought to be a doctor in the hotel. I'll get him. Then I'll call the police.
Monsieur Mitchell, once again I find you at the scene of a crime.
Believe me, Inspector, it was not my choice either time.
You say you were unconscious when Monsieur Wheeler was shot. Have you any idea how long you were unconscious?
Just a few seconds. I heard the clock start to strike 9 as I walked into this room, and it was still striking when I came to.
That stain and broken glass on the carpet, what do they represent?
Well, part of the glass is from my wristwatch, I guess. The rest of it and the stain are from the drink I was holding in my hand when I got slugged.
Steve, what's happened?
Martha. Well, Hemsley.
The gendarme at the door said something about a shooting, Mitchell.
Yeah, Wheeler was shot.
What? Oh, Steve, is he still alive?
Yeah, he's in the next room with the doctor. He's going to be all right. I just think it's a flesh wound.
Oh.
Well, that's good news.
Is it, Hemsley?
What do you mean by that, Mitchell?
Skip it.
Permit me, I am Inspector Brisac of the Sûreté. Did you two come over here together?
Why, no, we just happened to arrive together, Inspector.
I see.
My room is just down the hall.
Permit me to inquire as to your movements for the past hour.
Why, I was in my room reading.
And Mademoiselle has a witness?
What? No.
And you, Monsieur Hemsley?
Wheeler had scheduled a meeting for 9:30. I waited in my hotel until it was time to come over. Then I came over.
So?
Incidentally, where's Carl Voorhees?
Why, I expected to find him here for the meeting.
I will answer. Brisac speaking. Oui, Giraud. What is that? So. You are sure of the time? Merci. At 9 o'clock, Monsieur Voorhees called room service for some ice. When the boy arrived, 5 minutes later, he found Voorhees with a bullet through his heart. It is indeed a perplexing case, Mitchell. Our killer moves very fast. He shoots Monsieur Wheeler and kills Monsieur Voorhees, all in the space of 10 minutes.
Yeah. Of course, Voorhees lived just down the street from Wheeler.
Oh, it is my turn to buy the drinks, Monsieur.
Oh, I've still got some here. I think I'll just have a little ice in it.
As you prefer.
Hey.
Monsieur?
How long has it been since our last drink?
20, perhaps 30 minutes.
Yeah. Look, Inspector, you asked me about that stain on the carpet of Wheeler's drawing room. I said it was broken glass and liquor.
That is correct, Mitchell.
Was there any ice on the carpet?
No, there was not.
Inspector, half an hour ago, I got a cable from the commissioner. Here, take a look at it.
Terms of merger such that in event of one partner's death, his voting interest passes to survivors.
Now, if you'll round up everyone in Wheeler's room in a few minutes, I think I can deliver you one grade A killer. How's the shoulder, Mr. Wheeler?
Coming along, but I don't understand the purpose of this meeting.
What's it all about, Steve?
Yes, being summoned here like fugitives from justice.
Monsieur Mitchell is host at this gathering. He will explain.
And I'll make it short. The person who shot Mr. Wheeler in the shoulder and killed Voorhees is undoubtedly the same one who hired Dominic to kill the other partners.
You mean one man's behind this whole thing, Steve?
One man. Or woman, Martha.
Hmm?
I'd like to show you how that killer arranged the shootings tonight. Mr. Wheeler, this clock that was striking when I got slugged, has it been running okay lately?
Why, yes, it has. Matter of fact, Martha took it to be fixed a couple of days ago.
I see.
Well, I don't see, Steve. What are you driving at?
When I got knocked out, the clock was striking 9. When I came to, it was still striking, so I figured I'd just been out a few seconds. Actually, I was unconscious nearly 20 minutes, long enough for the killer to get to Voorhees' hotel, kill him, come back, reset the clock, and then shoot himself in the shoulder.
What?
I say. What about it, Monsieur Wheeler?
I'm afraid Mr. Mitchell's imagination is working overtime. Mitchell, do you actually think I'd shoot myself?
If the stakes were high enough, and in this deal they are. You'd already knocked off 4 of your partners. That left only Voorhees and Hemsley in your way.
I say, Voorhees and I were getting a little suspicious of Wheeler. We met yesterday afternoon to talk about it.
My patience with your sense of humor is wearing thin, Mitchell. You're making a lot of statements that would be very difficult to prove.
You're wrong there. I can prove most of them with the help of just one ice cube.
Ice cube?
Yeah. When I came to, all the ice in my drink had melted. Yet just now, down in the bar, it took the ice in my drink almost 20 minutes to melt.
Well, Monsieur Wheeler?
But it'd be kind of hard to explain that away, wouldn't it, Wheeler? Wouldn't it?
I have nothing to say until I've seen my lawyers.
That can be easily arranged, Monsieur. They will find it easy to locate you. You will be in prison.
Going to have some time to play in Paris, Steve?
I'm afraid not, Martha.
Too bad. Take a look at the newspaper. It's full of things to do, places to go. We could have a lot of fun.
You don't have to sell me on that. Hey, look at this picture of the horse race.
Well, what about it?
Well, the horses are running in the wrong direction.
What? Oh, no, that's the way they do over here, Steve. The horses run clockwise instead of counterclockwise like in the States.
You know something?
What?
I think I'd better stay here a couple of days after all.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. The way I pick horses, I could clean up a fortune.
Oh.
Mine always run backwards.
You have just heard the fifth in an exciting new adventure series, Dangerous Assignment, starring Brian Donlevy as Steve Mitchell. Dangerous Assignment is written by Bob Reif and directed by Bill Karn, with music by Bruce Ashley. Be with us again next week at this same time when Brian Donlevy, starring as Steve Mitchell, will embark on another Dangerous Assignment. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
75 years ago, August 6, 1949, Dangerous Assignment on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Many thanks to Honeywell and Sean and all the others who have given us, done really good by us in buying us a coffee, using the Buy Me a Coffee function there. Really appreciate it. That's at classicradio.stream. Up next, Joe DeSantis, Under Arrest.
We are the vocal parents of the local PTA. We're gathered here because we fear that 10 years from today, the younger generation of a growing population who look to us for leadership will look at us and say, we have no alma maters, with or without swimming pools. We have no alma maters, because we have no schools.
Our children are growing faster than our schools. And 10 years from today, conditions may become desperate unless we do something about it now. If you'd like to do something constructive about it now, write to Better Schools, 9 East 40th Street, New York 16, New York.
We can have the schools we need 10 years from today.
Now we head over to the Mutual Radio Network for an episode of Under Arrest starring Joe DeSantis. This goes back 74 years, August 6, 1950. The story entitled The Willing Victim Report.
Mutual presents Under Arrest, starring Joe DeSantis as Police Captain Jim Scott.
Under arrest! Into yourselves.
Criminals behind bars. Under Arrest, the story of Police Captain Jim Scott's fight against crime.
Sit down, Mrs.
Mollison.
Mollison, yes. How can I help you, Mrs. Mollison?
I understand you're in charge of leasing out space here at the New City Airport.
Well, not airfield or hangar space, Mrs. Mollison, just commercial space in the various buildings. What did you have in mind?
A luggage shop, Mr. Hale. Smart and expensive.
Yes. Your address, Mrs. Mollison?
21 Courtney Road. Previously, I was thinking of a smart dress shop. Dresses, suits, coats, accessories. I had a shop of that kind in Seattle, and...
Yes. I had the impression when you came in that that was more your style than luggage.
I take that as a compliment, Mr. Hale. Have you the time?
11:45.
Oh, dear. I'll be late for my next appointment. Could we meet again, Mr. Hale?
Why, it'd be a pleasure, Mrs. Mollison.
I'll be needing so much advice. May I telephone you in the next day or so?
Any time, Mrs. Mollison.
Goodbye, and thank you.
Goodbye. Oh, Mrs. Mollison. Miss Schumann, the lady who just left my office. Oh, gone so quickly, eh? That's too bad. She left her handbag on my desk.
Captain Jim Scott speaking. That day I was at my desk at headquarters. I never knew Dave Hale, general manager of the city airport. Never been any reason why I should have known him. But that day he phoned and came to see me. Well, Mr. Hale, you don't want me, do you? You want our lost and found department.
I know it seems odd, Captain Scott, but open the handbag.
Oh, see.
Well, she didn't come back right away, so I opened it to look for her address, and that's what I found.
25 caliber automatic. Handy weapon. You said her name was Mollison. Any first name?
Oh, she didn't mention any.
Husband's name?
Oh, well, that's the funny thing.
What?
Well, of course, she said her name was Mrs., but... Well, I just can't think of a husband in connection with her. Ever notice that about some women, Captain?
Usually that kind doesn't want you to think about a husband. Or am I unfair?
Well, I must say this Mrs. Mollison's...
Since she came to your office on business, didn't you write down her name and address?
Yes, but when I looked for the piece of paper later, it was gone.
Remember the address?
No. I'm so used to writing things down, I rarely remember such details.
Just a second. Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Check the city directory for a woman named Mollison. Mollison.
Mollison.
And see if anybody named Mollison has a license for a 25 caliber Frascati automatic.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I suppose Mrs. Mollison will call back for the handbag, but, well, people who carry guns worry me a little, Captain. That's why
I wish more citizens were like you, Mr. Hale. Then there'd be fewer unauthorized deadly weapons floating around. But, the gun isn't the entire reason you came to see me, is it?
You're very discerning, Captain. Well, the fact is, holding a job under the city administration as I do, I just like to avoid any chance of trouble.
And a good-looking but gun-toting woman looks like trouble to you, huh?
Am I wrong?
No, I was going to say it if you hadn't, Mr. Hale. Excuse me. Yes?
About Mollison, no such gun license.
And the city directory?
There are 17 Mollisons listed, Captain. I'm having the list typed up, sir.
Thank you, Sergeant. You heard that, Mr. Hale. Tomorrow, if I can spare a man, I'll have those 17 Mollisons checked. And when you hear from the lady, let me know. If it seems advisable, play along with us. I think you're right to be suspicious.
David Hale speaking.
This is Mrs. Mollison, Mr. Hale.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Mollison.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I think I left my handbag in your office this morning, didn't I?
Why, yes.
Was there much money in it?
Money? Well,
I thought perhaps you'd have opened it, looking for my name or address or a phone number.
Well, the fact is, Mrs. Mollison, I did.
Oh, then, of course, you found the gun.
Yes, Mrs. Mollison. But not your address, which I'd mislaid. No, your phone number.
That gun belongs to my brother in Chicago. He insisted on lending it to me because I'm so often alone here at night.
Oh, I see.
My husband's a structural engineer. He's away so much. I could be arrested for not licensing it, I suppose. Now, this is awkward. I can't get to your office again for several... Mr. Hale, I wonder if you'd think me very forward.
Forward, Mrs. Mollison?
Well, we could kill two birds with one stone. I could recover my handbag and use the theater tickets at the same time.
Theater tickets?
Well, my husband was suddenly called to Morgantown, and we bought 2 good seats tomorrow night for the play at the Lyceum, Green Forest. I hate to miss it, and if you'd care to join me...
I'd be delighted, Mrs. Mollison. I can pick you up at 8 and bring the handbag with me.
8 tomorrow evening, then. Goodbye.
Mrs. Mollison, your address.
Oh, of course. 21 Courtney Road, the Green and White Bungalow. At 8 tomorrow evening, Mr. Hale. And thank you very much.
Oh, hello, Mr. Hale.
I heard from Mrs. Mollison, Captain Scott. She explained the gun quite satisfactorily. It's her brother's. She's going to license it.
Good.
As to the rest, I'm going to the theater with her tomorrow evening.
Good.
Captain, I promised to return her handbag. When I do, the gun ought to be in it, don't you think?
Well, yeah. All right. I'll remove the firing pin just in case, and I'll send it out to your office right away, Mr. Hale. Good luck with Mrs. Mollison. Hope you don't need it.
date this evening. A lot of fun, Dave.
I'm very glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you invited me.
How about coming in for a nightcap?
If you hadn't said it, I was going to say it myself.
Come on.
What's more, I'm delighted your husband's away.
Well, I'm delighted he's away, too, Dave. Well, that's odd. I was sure I put out all the lights when we left. Well, anyway, I can give you a...
Good evening, darling.
Bob, I thought you were in Morgantown.
No, I got halfway there and got a wire on the train putting over our conference for a week. This gentleman is,
This is Mr. Hale, my husband.
How do you do, Mr. Mollison?
Nice of you to entertain my wife, Mr. Hale. I hate to think of her being bored while I'm away. Vera, no doubt you were giving Mr. Hale a nightcap. I'll join you.
I think I ought to be going, Mr. Mollison.
Oh, why? You came in for a drink. You're going to have it. I'm taking a light scotch. Vera takes sherry. What can I give you?
Light scotch should be fine. Plain water, no ice.
I was very disappointed about my trip, Vera.
Of course.
How was the play, darling?
The play?
Well, the fact is, Mr. Mollison...
Oh, it's a wonderful performance, Bob. You'll have to go and see it yourself.
Mrs...
The first act's dull. I didn't like the father at all, but the rest is very exciting. Didn't you think so, Mr. Hale?
Well, maybe you'll see it again, Vera, with me.
I'd love to.
Your drink, Mr. Hale. Not too light, I hope.
Thank you.
Your sherry, darling.
Thank you.
Did you have any trouble getting the right seats, darling?
What?
When I left yesterday afternoon, I put the tickets here on the desk. They're still here.
Oh, yes.
I assume you forgot them and explained that to the doorman.
That's right, Mr. Mollison. I mean, Mrs. Mollison did forget them, but we didn't go to the theater at all.
I just told that little fib, Bob. I didn't want you to know I was careless and let the tickets go to waste. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't mind.
Yes, actually...
we went over to the Gedneys. I wanted Mr. Hale to see Bill Gedney. We played canasta and came home.
Nice fellow, Bill Gedney, isn't he, Mr. Hale? Until he starts talking about his car. You know the way some people can be so dull about their cars?
Oh, yes, very.
Vera, now I realize how you met Mr. Hale.
Oh?
Just putting two and two together. Mr. Hale is manager at the airport. You were there yesterday. You must have forgotten something, possibly a handbag. Mr. Hale returned it to you. Good guess?
Perfect, Mr. Mollison.
You have it back, darling. May I see?
Well, it's in my hand. Isn't that enough?
I want the gun, Vera.
The gun?
May I?
Here.
Thank you. I don't like you to carry a gun, Vera, no matter what. I'm going to send this back to your brother. I'm glad it's not loaded. Now, what's this?
What?
In your bag, one of those stupid noisemakers that they give away in nightclubs. This one is from the Club Serpentine. You didn't go to the theater. You didn't go to the Gedneys either, did you? You went to the Club Serpentine.
Mr. Mollison...
Oh, I don't mind the Club Serpentine, Mr. Hale. But I violently object to being lied to by my wife and another man.
Bob, please.
Mr. Mollison, I don't quite understand...
Leave this all to me. I think you'd better go.
That's the point my wife and I both agree on at this moment, Mr. Hale. You're going.
Yes, good night.
Oh, this is all my fault, Mr. Hale. I'm truly sorry.
Good night, Mrs. Mollison.
Well, Bob, I think I've hooked him for you very neatly.
Who'd you say, Miss Schumann? Oh. You better say I'm busy and can't. No. Send him in, Miss Schumann. Come in, Captain Scott.
Hello, Mr. Hale. I haven't heard anything further from you about Mrs. Mollison.
No, sit down.
Thanks. What happened?
Well, the fact is, I felt rather silly. That's why I didn't call you.
Silly?
I told you she invited me to the theater. Actually, we didn't go. She forgot the tickets. We went to the Serpentine instead, and later to her home for a nightcap. Unexpectedly, her husband was there. For some reason, Mrs. Mollison lied to him about where we'd been. I was very embarrassed. Mollison ordered me out.
Hear from her since?
No.
You said she lied for some reason.
Yes.
Occur to you what the reason might be?
Well, she may figure what Mollison didn't know wouldn't hurt him.
I figure she lied just to put you on a spot. Involve you in a relationship with her.
She doesn't seem that kind of woman. She's very intelligent. She's lovely.
Why else would she have lied?
Captain, maybe your profession leads you to read all sorts of sinister meanings into trivial incidents.
For a reason, Mr. Hale. Many a trivial incident has a sinister meaning. Blackmail is one of the sleaziest crimes there is.
Blackmail?
Blackmail. It's one of my duties to nab it. I suspect some kind of blackmail scheme is in the wind. And now, Mr. Hale, I'm not going to ask you to keep me informed. I'm warning you.
That's rather high-handed, isn't it, Captain Scott?
For your own good. Cut that dame cold, or if you do see her, let me know what happens. You invited me into this situation. When I'm convinced it's nothing, as you want to believe, I'll be the first to invite myself out. Goodbye, Mr. Hale.
Your drink, Vera.
Thank you, darling.
Dear, you're a better judge of male character than I am. What's your opinion of David Hale's state of mind after the last 6 days?
Well,
You needn't be modest with me.
I only want to be accurate. I'd say he's in a state of high curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nice man, so he can't figure out just what I was doing lying that night. I seem to be a nice woman, so why would I lie?
You don't think he's a cynic, do you?
A cynic?
A man who thinks all women lie?
I don't know what he thinks about all women. I only know what he thinks about me.
For instance?
He fell for me. Hard.
I hope you're right.
That's why he's so curious. Even if he's scared, of you, for instance, he's curious.
Vera, don't estimate him for a fool. I inspected your supposed brother's gun. Did you know that the firing pin was removed?
Well, he's a cautious man, isn't he?
Well, it's a warning to us to be careful. It's time for the next step, isn't it?
I think so.
The embarrassed wife calling a sincere friend to explain the little business of the other night. A tear in the eye, a hint that your husband is an unfeeling brute.
I know.
In short, if he's on the brink of falling in love with you, push him over the cliff.
Oh, darling, we've been invited to Mabel Spinner's party next Monday night. She has a penthouse apartment, you know. Suppose I call Hale and say you're away again, and that I want to explain. Yeah, I think that'll do it, Bob. Pressure my drink, will you?
Yes, Vera?
Let's go out on the terrace.
Yeah, of course.
It's like being in another world. Oh, what a beautiful night. Dave, please don't be angry.
Angry? I'm not angry.
You're angry because I still haven't explained why...
It's not important.
Dave, I don't want to lose you as a friend so soon. I felt so badly I embarrassed you that night. I lied on the spur of the moment. It's hard for me to explain exactly why. Pop's character, I suppose, and instinctively I... Well, he's my husband. A good husband, really. I shouldn't criticize him, but...
Oh, Vera.
I told him the next day it was awful for him to have acted the way he did. Then I was ashamed to call you. Days went by. He went away yesterday morning, and I thought, well, why should I be ashamed?
Well, then let's forget it, Vera.
Can you?
Well, not literally, I suppose. I mean...
For days I couldn't think of anything but the look on your face that evening. Dave,
What?
Oh, never mind.
What were you going to say?
I shouldn't say a thing like that.
Like what? Tell me.
It presumes too much about your feelings for me. After all, we're not old friends. I'm simply a woman who wants to go in business again for herself. some escape from... Now, we'd better go back inside, Dave.
Vera, you can't presume too much about my feelings.
Don't say anything.
This is the 3rd time I've seen you. It seems like the 100th. That's got to mean something.
Well, under the circumstances, Dave, what can it mean?
I love you.
No.
Not possible in such a short time? Why not?
Please, Dave.
This is probably the last time I'll ever see you, and I've got to say it. I love you. And I wish I didn't have a husband and that you loved me.
Oh,
and...
Dave.
Oh, Vera, darling. My darling. I do love you.
I'm so glad.
Glad?
I was hoping you'd... thinking of it, wishing that...
I don't believe you.
What?
How can I? You love me?
I believe you, Dave. Why shouldn't you believe me? I'll prove I love you, Dave. I'll tell you why I really came to see you at your office last week. I'll tell you why I invited you to the theater and why I lied. It was to involve you personally with me. I'll tell you why I lied when my husband was there. For the same reason. To involve you deeper. To make you feel guilty. I knew my husband was going to be there. He and I planned it all beforehand. Including my bringing you here tonight. Bob Mollison poses as a consulting engineer. He has an office, all right, but he's no engineer. I never ran a shop in my life. The rest of our scheme is to get you involved with me further. Then blackmail you.
Vera, this
Bob's
is all...
figured out a scheme for making all tenants at the airport pay kickbacks to you for getting good space. He'd even pay you half the money. It can run into hundreds of thousands over a period of years.
Blackmail?
Bob's sure you can be blackmailed. He figures you'd come into the racket with us to prevent its becoming public that you and I were...
I'm not married. There'd be no great scandal.
You're appointed by the city. How long could you keep that job if Bob linked your name with that of a female jailbird?
You?
4 years in the state penitentiary.
Why?
Same scheme as this, in another city. There may be some mistakes, and the victim wouldn't blackmail. Now, do you believe what I said?
All that? Yes, I suppose I do.
I mean, do you believe that I love you?
Is this the same mistake you made before? Falling in love with a victim?
No.
Well, you made another.
What?
This time you'll let the victim really fall in love with you.
Well, we'll both have to get over it.
Yes. Together.
Together?
We'll go to Chicago, New York, any place. And from there notify Mollison you want a divorce. We'll get married.
But your job...
I'll get another. Will you do it?
On one condition.
What?
I want to protect you. I'm going to tell Bob the whole thing, the truth, and ask him to settle everything quietly. Oh, darling, I'm so happy. I'm scared to death.
Can we talk here privately, Captain Scott?
Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
No interruptions, no phones, no nothing till I tell you.
Yes, sir.
Last night, Captain, I saw Vera Mollison again. She and I really have fallen in love. We're leaving the city. She's going to divorce Mollison. We're going to get married.
Have a cigarette, Mr. Hale. I can see that speech took all the nerve you've got.
Yeah. Thank you.
Light? Then I was entirely wrong, was I, Mr. Hale?
About there being some kind of scheme? No. But that's all over now.
There was a scheme, but it's over?
Mrs. Mollison and her husband planned to blackmail me into a racket involving kickbacks on airport rentals.
Hale, after I got her name last week, I inquired about her in the federal identification files in Washington. Vera Hammer, evidently the same girl, spent 4 years in a New York state pen for attempted blackmail.
She told me.
Well, Mollison's her husband, all right. Real name's Miller. Stoney Miller. Used to work the Big Con in Kansas City. Served 3 prison terms.
I don't care anything about him. But, Captain, I've come to you and told you all this because of our previous conversations. Now I want you to forget the whole matter.
You let this bust in the papers and you're out of work, Hale.
She's asking Mollison to let us handle the whole thing quietly.
You think he will?
Even crooks aren't all bad, Captain Scott. Why wouldn't he?
You stand to lose a lot more than your airport job. You've got a future in the city administration, haven't you?
Well...
Don't you realize you're giving Mollison a stronger weapon against you than he had before?
What? How?
To frame a man with a variation of the old Badger game is usually pretty good, even though the emotions involved aren't very important. But now you're very deeply involved with this woman, and she with you. Mollison will see that. He knows you'll pay higher.
I'll leave the city and stay away.
If you balk him of this particular racket, he'll want to be paid high for letting his wife go. And if you can't do that, he'll refuse a divorce.
I don't care.
Listen to what you're saying, Hale. It can ruin your life to be tied up with a woman married to a crook, and she an ex-con herself.
We don't care anything about anything except that we love each other.
You're going to hate me the rest of your life, but how do you know that even what she told you last night isn't part of a scheme?
What?
Which of you two suggested handling it quietly?
What? No, Vera did.
There it is, the real hook. They figure you'll pay higher if you're really in love than even if it was just a frame.
That's a rotten thing to say about her. I swear she's sincere.
Hale, have you got the nerve to come with me to visit them now without warning and find out?
Well, this is all wonderful, Vera. Wonderful.
Then you'll let me handle the divorce thing quietly?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Oh, Bob, I'm sorry I disappointed you. It hasn't been bad with you, taking everything together.
No, it hasn't.
You can find a new partner who won't let you down. If it's all the same to you, I'll move to a hotel.
Darling, you're getting ahead of yourself. I said I'd let you handle the divorce thing quietly, provided Hale cuts me in on the airport rental racket as soon as I set it up for him.
You're crazy. He won't do it.
To marry you, why won't he?
Because we're not going to start off wrong.
All right, then I'll smear it all over the papers.
But you promised.
For a price.
Bob, please. The racket idea's out. Can't you leave us alone?
Well, sure, but not for nothing.
All right. I'll go away. Alone. Away from you and from him.
All right, I'll smear him anyway. I'll yell he knows where you went.
You rotten crumb, you.
You better put down that phone.
If you hurt Dave, I'll tell the one thing about you that'll finish you for life.
Oh, stop kidding. You were in on it, too.
I don't care anymore what you do to me, but I will help Dave.
Put that phone down.
Operator, I want police. Oh. You're done anyway, Bob. The operator certainly heard this.
Don't move, Mollison. Police.
Police?
Hold still the way you are. Give me that gun. And you get handcuffs.
Police?
Hello? Hello?
Captain.
Hello?
She's dead.
Hello?
Hello, operator. This is Captain Scott, police. It's all right.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Mollison, I'm arresting you for the murder of your wife.
Scott, she's dead. He killed her, the murdering.
Leave him alone, Hale.
But he killed her.
Well, I'll take care of him for that and for a previous murder. I was hoping I wouldn't have to tell you, Hale, but through you, 2 vicious murders have been caught.
2?
Yeah. Because of the inquiries I made in Washington, I learned that Bob and Vera Miller, these 2, were wanted for 2 years for the planned murder of a man in Philadelphia.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, Hale. It just couldn't have worked with you and her. Operator, police headquarters, please.
Under arrest.
Into your cells. All prisoners present and accounted for.
You have heard Under Arrest, presented by Mutual and starring Joe DeSantis as Police Captain Jim Scott. Today's case was especially dramatized for Under Arrest by Paul R. Milton, Original music was composed and played by Al Finelli. Heard in today's cast were Rita Lynn as Mrs. Mollison, Eric Dressler as her husband, and Court Benson as Mr. Hale. All names of persons used and under arrest are fictitious. Any resemblance to names of actual persons living or dead is coincidental. This is Ken Marvin speaking. Employers, give physically handicapped workers an equal opportunity. Disabled veterans and other physically handicapped persons acquire through proper training skills that make them as fit for their jobs as other workers. It's good business to hire them. State agencies prepare handicapped persons physically and mentally for selected jobs. There's a great reservoir of skills and abilities readily available by calling your state employment office, the Veterans Administration, or your state vocational rehabilitation agency. Employ the physically handicapped. It's good business. This program came from New York. There's many a chilling and thrilling chapter in the news every weeknight. For a penetrating look into the passing scene through the sharp eyes of ace reporters, hear Gabriel Heater, Bill Henry, and Frank Edwards, Monday through Friday, over most of these stations. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
And there you have it. 74 years ago, August 6, 1950, Under Arrest, starring Joe DeSantis. Now, let's see what's going on in the continuing adventures of Superman.
Maybe you're about to hit the jackpot. Maybe you're on the point of inheriting $500,000 or finding oil. Chances are, though, that none of these lovely things will happen. Chances are, if you want a bonanza in the future, you'll have to save it up. Now, there are a number of ways to do that. Some people stuff their mattresses, stash their cash behind a loose brick in the fireplace, or slip it under a floorboard. None of these methods make sense because money so stored isn't making a cent for you. Not only that, it may get lost or stolen. Wouldn't you rather your savings made more money for you? Wouldn't you rather have them theft-proof, loss-proof in every way?
Of course you would. And you can the United States Savings Bond way. Through the payroll savings plan where you work or the bond-a-month plan where you bank. $3 will get you $4 on maturity every time. Nicest thing of all, it's literally impossible to lose your money.
If baby shreds your bonds into confetti and drops them out the window, you can recover your cash plus interest in United States savings bonds.
And we wrap up this Tuesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with another episode of Superman, Dr. Roebling, and the Voice Machine. This goes back 83 years to August 4th, 1941.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. Having succeeded in forcing his inventor uncle, Dr. Roebling, to sign away all rights to a secret voice machine, Jack Roebling and his blonde wife, Chickie, flee Martin City in a blue roadster, leaving Dr. Roebling half-dazed in a barren tenement room. But Clark Kent, driving to a tenement with Lois Lane, stops for a red light and, recognizing the roadster, follows it. On the open road outside the city limits, Kent jams the accelerator down to the floorboard and grips the wheel hard. Roaring into the night, his keen eyes watch the twin taillights gleaming ahead of him.
Are you sure that's the car? After all, there must be hundreds of blue roadsters on the road.
I'm positive, Lois. I told you I saw the blonde, Catherine Roebling, sitting next to the driver.
Probably her husband. His name's Jack. Well, she called him over the phone.
There's only one thing that worries me.
What?
They're doing 80 now. I can't get any more out of this car. The accelerator's down as far as it'll go.
Sharp curve ahead.
Yeah, I see it. Hold on. Hope they don't come any sharper than that.
Say, we've lost them, haven't we?
Huh?
Can't see their tail lights.
There must be another curve up ahead. Yes, there is. Not a bad one, though.
Oh, I see them now. This is the road to Metropolis, isn't it?
Uh-huh. That must be where they're headed.
But what happened to Dr. Roebling? There was just a man and a woman in the roadster.
Well, either they left him behind, or...
For what?
Or he's in the rumble seat.
You mean dead?
Yes.
Oh, they couldn't do anything like that. Well, she's his daughter.
I don't think she is, Lois. There may be some relation, but I'm sure it's not that close.
Clark, he seems to be pulling away from us.
I know, but there's nothing I can do about it. Try to force this pedal down further.
We're doing 82.
Okay, sit tight. I'll give her all she can take.
I tell you, we're being followed, Jack.
Stop worrying, Chickie.
But I don't like it. Suppose it's a cop.
So we get a ticket.
But he might ask questions.
Now, look, don't worry. I know all the answers. $50 fines for speeding don't bother me anymore. Why, baby, you know what that paper you've got in your handbag is worth? Plenty.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Why, what are you talking about? It's in the bag. That machine is insured for $10 million. I heard he was offered twice that for it.
$20 million?
Yes.
Well, why didn't he take it?
Because he's a crackpot, that's why. He's giving it to the government for nothing.
Not now, he isn't. It belongs to us.
Right you are, baby.
That car's still behind us, Jack.
Oh, forget it. Think about what you're going to buy first. The mink coat or a couple of dozen fancy dresses. What's it going to be, Chickie?
Oh, I don't know. There's time for that. Well, what about this voice machine, Jack? We got the papers, but how are we going to get the machine?
I took care of that. I got the key to his place in Metropolis.
You don't miss a trick, do you?
Not many.
What does this voice machine do, Jack, to make it so valuable?
Well, I never could find out exactly. I guess maybe it's like a radio, only something special. Oh, what's the difference? If anybody wants to pay $20 million for it, there must be something to it. We'll find out soon enough. We should hit Metropolis by morning. Yep, Chickie. In 24 hours, we'll be millionaires.
With its powerful motor wide open, the roadster flies over the white ribbon of highway, its brilliant headlights cleaving the darkness. Meanwhile, a quarter of a mile behind, Clark Kent and Lois Lane seem to have run into trouble.
What's wrong, Clark?
I don't know. Motor's missing. Oh, great Scott.
What is it?
We're running out of gas.
Well, wasn't the tank full?
I guess not. Well, that's the end of it.
Now what do we do?
Well, I think I saw a house right around the bend. I can probably call a gas station from there and have them deliver 5 gallons.
Well, might as well say goodbye to the Blue Roadster.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Do you mind waiting here, Lois? I'll run up to the house and make the call.
I don't mind if you hurry.
Oh, I will. Not only won't I say goodbye to the Blue Roadster, but I'll be saying hello to it in just a few minutes. A nice big Superman hello. There, I'm around the bend now. Lois can't see me. This is one job I'm going to tackle in full Superman costume. Lucky I've got it on under this suit. Yeah. There we are. I can leave Kent's clothes behind this bush and pick them up later. Up! Up! And away!
Red cloak streaming in the wind, Superman is off like a bullet through the darkness, his surging flight carrying him forward faster almost than the eye can follow. Passing over the Blue Roadster, he drops down on the highway a mile ahead of it.
Looks like we lost the car that was following us, Jack.
Yeah, I figured we would. We're doing 90. This crate sure can travel.
But Jack, look. What's that up ahead in the middle of the road?
I don't know. It's a man, isn't it?
I think so, but what's he doing on the road?
Stupid fool. Why doesn't he move?
Oh, slow down, Jack.
I'm not slowing for anything.
You're hitting. Jack, look out!
Good thing he got out of the way. We'd have smeared him all over the road.
Gee, I thought sure you were going to hit him. Did you see what he was wearing?
Yeah, it looked like a red cape.
That's what I thought.
Hey, what's happening?
We're slowing down.
No, it can't be.
We're stopping.
Well, that's crazy. The motor's racing.
It won't be for long. Pardon me while I reach in and turn the ignition key.
What?
There we are.
Hey, what's the big idea? Who are you?
Get out of the car, both of you.
No, wait a minute.
I'm not in the habit of waiting. Get out. Come on, make it fast. All right, I'll help you out.
Oh, you're breaking my arm.
That's only a sample. Come on, Miss Roebling.
I'm coming.
That's better.
Jack, it's the fellow with the cape. The one who was on the road.
No, we're seeing things. It can't be.
You're not seeing things. What's your name?
Jack Roebling.
She your wife?
Yes.
Do you know Dr. Walter Roebling?
Yes, he's my uncle.
I see. So that's the story.
What story? I don't know any story.
I'm afraid you know it all too well. No doubt you helped this clever young woman get your uncle off the train. Not quite certain what your game is, but I can imagine it isn't on the level.
Jack, here's the gun.
Put your hands up or I'll shoot.
Do you think that little pearl-handled toy frightens me?
Get your hands up or I'll let you have it.
Better toss that cap pistol in the bushes or I might lose my temper. Go ahead.
Stand back.
Toss it in the bushes.
Stand back, I said.
Too bad you couldn't see those bullets bounce off my chest. It's a pretty sight.
Jack, he's still standing.
Well, 6 shots. That means the gun's empty. Now what are you going to do? Oh, no, you don't. Stay with us. We like your company.
Let go of me. Let go of me.
I think I'll have to quiet you down. That's better. Sorry I had to put your husband to sleep, Mrs. Roebling, but he's better off that way. Now stop whimpering. Nothing's going to happen to you. Get in the car. We'll just dump this lovely specimen of manhood into the rumble seat. Provided it's empty. Let's see. Yes. All right, in you go. Now, Mrs. Roebling, before we drive back and I turn you and your husband over to an old friend of yours, Clark Kent, I have a few questions I'd like answered.
I didn't do anything. Honest, I didn't.
I know exactly what you did. Where's Dr. Roebling?
Back in Martin City.
Where in Martin City? 218 State Street?
Yes. How did you know?
That's my business, finding things out. Why did you and your husband take Dr. Roebling off the train? What were you after?
It was all Jack's idea. He knew about his uncle's voice machine. He wanted to get the rights to it. He made me help him.
I see. All right. I'll deliver both of you to Mr. Kent, and Mr. Kent can deliver you to Dr. Roebling and the police.
Now that we're all settled and on our way back to Metropolis, you have a number of things to explain, my friend.
Okay, what's bothering you, Lois?
In the first place, why are we going home by train instead of using the car?
Well, it would have taken too much time to get it from where we left it on the road. One of the garage men is driving it back.
All right. Now, where did you find Jack Roebling and his wife?
Just around the bend in the road. They had a flat. He pulled a gun on me, and I had to knock him out.
And yet, all the way back to Martin City, the blonde babbled about being attacked by a giant in a red cape.
Oh, she was hysterical, Lois. What's more important is that we got those assignment papers for Dr. Roebling and probably the biggest feature story of the year.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, I just walked back to Dr. Roebling's drawing room to see whether he was all right. He's resting comfortably. You know what he told me?
What?
That only 2 people in the world, government officials, had ever been given a demonstration of his voice machine.
Clark Kent, are you out of your mind?
Huh.
Is that what you call the biggest feature story of the year?
Patience, Miss Lane, patience. At 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Dr. Roebling is going to demonstrate the machine to you, Mr. White, and myself. And because of what we did for him, the Daily Planet will be the first newspaper in the world to reveal his secret.
What is the secret?
We'll find out at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, what is the closely guarded secret of Dr. Roebling's voice machine? A secret so precious that only 2 government officials are aware of it. There must be some startling reason for the machine being insured for $10 million. A reason all of us will know if we tune in on the next episode of Superman. Don't miss it.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
And you'll hear that next episode of Superman coming up on Thursday's podcast. We told you that tomorrow we'll have Mystery in the Air, The Whistler, Have Gun Will Travel, Frontier Town, and Lum and Abner. Thursday, in addition to Superman, Gangbusters, This Is Your FBI, an episode of Suspense, and X-1. And we'll wrap up the week with another episode of Confession, Quiet Please, Gunsmoke, and Have Gun Will Travel. That'll all be coming up on Friday. And then Saturday, another episode of Suspense, The Diary of Sophronia Winters. Also, yours truly, Johnny Dollar. The Lineup, Crime and Peter Chambers. And we'll have some more Claudia coming up on Friday and Saturday. So that's what's coming up this week, and we thank you for making us a part of your week and hope you have a great Tuesday. Join us tomorrow for more classic radio theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.